I've had this 15-inch MacBook Air for a full month now, and in that time, I've used it for all of my regular daily work, I've used it on the couch, and I've taken it on vacation. So I have a pretty good idea of what it's like to use this laptop. Is it for me? Is it for you? Let's see. Now, I don't really want to belabor this video, but I do want to talk about the things that I have noticed and that have impacted me the most over the last 4 weeks, but I do want to start with the design. I think that the design of this 15-inch MacBook Air is really good, and there is almost nothing that I would change about this laptop. I love the current Apple design language with the flatter tops and bottoms, and of course the slightly rounded edges. In every way, this looks like the 13-inch version of the M2 MacBook Air, just bigger, which is great. This laptop is really thin and light for a 15-inch laptop, and you can actually feel it when you pick it up. The laptop is almost deceptively light compared to the size and compared to my work PC laptops, which are 14 and 15-inch. But it is noticeably heavier than the 13-inch MacBook Air, which, combined with the size, does make it as unwieldy as other larger laptops. So if portability is the key for you, then this 15-inch MacBook Air will probably push the limits. And as you can see, I have the midnight version, and this is probably the last time I will buy this color. Like everyone has been saying for a year, the midnight MacBooks are just fingerprint magnets. I mean, the light caught it on the desk yesterday and basically put a spotlight on all of the fingerprints and everywhere I've touched this laptop. I bought this midnight color laptop just because I hadn't had one before. I actually prefer the silver models, but I did use space gray for many years, and I would be okay with that. But the midnight is just too dark, and I prefer the contrast between the lighter laptops and the black keyboard. Now, when it comes to the ports, you have the same port configuration as you do on the 13-inch model. On the left side, you have the Thunderbolt 3/USB 4 ports and MagSafe 2 for charging. And on the right side, you get a headphone jack. And that's it. And this is one of my only issues with this 15-inch Air. I know that it's just supposed to be a larger version of the 13-inch M2 Air, but we're now at a starting price of $1299. And with a higher price and a bigger chassis, we should probably get a few more ports, like maybe HDMI and an SD card reader or something. Without that, even for regular casual desktop use, you will probably need a hub or a dock just to get the things you need, which can cost up to hundreds of dollars. When you open up the lid on the 15-inch Air, now you have a really big trackpad. And I mean big. If you've never used the larger Mac laptops like the 16-inch MacBook Pro or the Desktop Magic Trackpad, then this is probably going to be a surprise for you. This trackpad almost looks comically big, especially when you put it right next to something like the iPad Magic Keyboard. I mean, look at that size difference. It's not really a huge difference from the 13-inch MacBook Air, but it is enough for me to notice. When sitting at a desk with the MacBook, I have to reach further up, which is less ergonomic, and it also puts pressure on my wrists. With the 13 or 14-inch MacBook, my palm sits at the bottom of the laptop most of the time rather than my wrist. It just makes it a more comfortable typing experience for me, and again, that's just me. Your mileage may vary. This isn't a huge deal. I can use it, but it's just something that has slightly bothered me over the last 4 weeks. I mean, I would take a smaller trackpad so that Apple could pull the keyboard down, and then maybe something could go above the keyboard with a bunch of empty space, maybe some kind of speaker grill up top. And that would be nice because the speakers on this laptop, although better than the 13-inch, still sound a little muffled compared to the other Apple laptops. That's just something you're not going to notice when using the laptop by itself. Only if you set the 15-inch Air next to the 14 or 16-inch Pro will you actually notice a difference. So for the 99.9% of you out there who doesn't have a 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro to compare to this one, it's going to sound great because you're not comparing it against the Pro models. I've used the speakers on this 15-inch Air for editing video and watching movies and of course YouTube and music, and I have not been disappointed in the sound quality. Would I prefer speakers that are upward firing rather than bouncing them off the display? Yeah, I would, but in actual use, you can't really complain. And if you're concerned about the speakers, Dave2D had a great video on Apple speakers a while back, and the short story is, Apple's are far and away better than most PC speakers, so I'll leave the link below if you want to check out his video. When it comes to performance in daily use, this laptop has been fine. It's been pretty much the same as the 13-inch M2 Air, and this is the base model with 8GB memory and 256GB of SSD. That starts at $1299. Although you can actually save $100 using the link in the description below, so check that out. Like I said, the performance is fine. The hardest I usually push this laptop is with video editing, and this computer can do it with some intermittent choppiness in the timeline. I do use multiple streams of 4K footage, like these, you can see them all. So this laptop is not really ideal for that. But if you're someone who's getting started with video or photo or audio creation, this laptop will work for you, but you may find yourself needing more in a year or two. For regular use with a bunch of browser tabs and email and work apps, this laptop has been fine. It does the job, but every now and then I get some kind of little stutter of some kind, like the computer is trying to catch up with itself. I don't see it frequently, maybe a couple of times a week, and the stutter lasts maybe a few seconds. I think that the RAM and SSD are the likely cause of this, and as you can see in this screenshot, I'm actually not pushing the computer that hard, but I am using a couple gigabytes of swap memory and the computer sees moderate pressure on the RAM. Now, Apple does do a really good job with memory management, and there's a good chance that you may never even realize that this is happening in the background. But apps do want RAM. Websites want RAM. And so when the computer needs more than 8 gigabytes, it pushes some of the apps in and out of swap memory on the SSD. And because the 256 gigabyte SSD is not as fast as the larger options, this process could be a little bit slower. And there is a ton of discussion online whether or not you should upgrade the RAM or the SSD on these Apple Silicon MacBooks. And in my opinion, I would choose the RAM. I would choose 16 gigabytes RAM over the larger SSD if you're deciding on an upgrade, and get external storage later if that's something you need. Then you have the 16 gigabytes ready for you all the time with less swapping to the SSD. Overall, the performance on the 15-inch M2 MacBook Air is actually pretty good on this laptop. This is just me being nitpicky with my use cases coming from a MacBook Pro. If you're coming from any Intel-based Mac or PC, this is going to feel like a whole new world. And honestly, if I gave this laptop to my wife or my daughter or a family member who are all regular users, I don't think I would hear one complaint about performance. And the last main thing I want to mention about this laptop is the battery life. It's been pretty great for my regular, non-video editing work and play. I'm able to get well over a day of active use. Battery life is something Apple's modern laptops really excel at, and it's hard to complain about. Instead, I think it really should be praised because you just don't see 12 to 15 hours of battery life out of PC laptops. Also, if you need full power while on battery, you can get it instead of the laptop throttling down performance when on battery. Apple's getting pretty darn good at this battery thing. Everything else about this laptop is a delight to use. The 15-inch screen is large and bright and works perfectly in bright or dark rooms. The keyboard is the standard Magic keyboard, and I love typing on it because it has a great feel. The Air is completely silent with no fan, yet stays cool for normal use. Using this on the couch is great with the larger display, though it is a bit big for airplane tray tables and just lugging it around. The camera still needs some work, but looking at this whole package, this is a pretty great laptop. So, should you get it? Well, if you're in the market for a larger display MacBook, this is your only option unless you want to spend much more. If you're a student or casual user or using this for work with standard work apps like I do most of the time, then this computer will probably be great, especially if you save $100 using the link below. It will come with just about everything you need, but maybe not everything you want, like ports. If you're a mechanical engineer or a 3D rendering artist or a content creator, you should probably consider upgrading the RAM or SSD at a minimum, or maybe even look at a refurbished 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro. That will cost a little bit more, but you may actually get more mileage out of it. And I think that's all I have to say about the 15-inch MacBook Air. But what do you guys think? Are you going to pick one of these guys up? And if so, which spec makes the most sense for you? Let me know below. If you want to see a full comparison of the 15-inch versus the 13-inch MacBook Air, check out this video right over here. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.